Test. Test.
We are now going live. Hello, chat. How's it going? We are coming to you with news and information. This is an informational podcast. We are going to get started here in a second. Going to let Mikey take a few more bites of his food while I get the video cameras looking right. The camcorder. Mike, did you have a camcorder? Did your family have like a video camera when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah. My dad loved that stuff.
Yeah, my dad did too. Yeah. I want to get a retro tank so I can put all those, because I have a VCR here now. I just need to actually plug it in and get all those videos backed up. Need more water? I think it's full of water. Okay, give it here. All right. I'm going to get this kid water and then we're going to get started.
That's fine. I'm going to eat my pasta. Our pesto. No. I used my lunch break today to meet my friends who were in town, and they wanted to go to a museum around here. And I thought we'd go to the museum and get lunch, but those eggheads really take their time in the museum. So I had to go home and trying to scarf down one of my meal preps. It's actually the last of my meal preps. I thought this would be dinner tonight. So I have to figure something else out for dinner. But I will preserve. Take it easy, Radu. Sorry, by the way. I don't know about everyone else. I actually hate when streamers eat on camera. I don't know why. I think I'm a baby. So I apologize for forcing you to watch this. Eating's a disgusting habit. It's gross that we eat.
Hey. Ooh, those mouth smacking sounds. This is a premium podcast. People are excited in chat. Napper says, yay, Mikey mukbang.
I don't like it. Well, I don't like watching people eat.
Yeah, I don't like eating. I don't like the feeling of how I must look when I eat. Like the way, that projection that I put on other people. All right, there's the rundown. There's chat. There's OBS, and there's you. What else do I need? I need the questions from the Discord.
Push that like button, everybody. Let's go. Push it. You just watched me eat. I know you liked it.
The thing about Dark Void is that Bear McCreary did the music, so it has one redeeming quality, right?
I thought people liked Dark Void. Fine.
No, I don't think people like Dark Void, Mike.
I always get it mixed up with the other jetpack game that people do like, the one from Platinum. What's that called?
Vanquish?
Vanquish. People like Vanquish.
Vanquish is good. Yes.
I guess I want to give Dark Void a pass because it looks vaguely Rocketeer-ish.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's a crime that it wasn't good. And then I go to podcast producers, and then I click this thread button.
My second drink here.
And that's blinking 12. And then I click on questions for GamesBeat Decides. All right.
Okay. Oh,
that's a good amount of questions. That's good. All right.
Written the game I've been playing in this thing.
Mike, I feel like I should hit the button. We should get started. What do you say? Oh, you know what? Yes. Let me tweet and let me check the intro. Feels like it's going through the wrong thing.
I also don't hear it.
I don't hear it either. It's going through. I do hear it, but it's going through those speakers there. It shouldn't be doing that. So, Stream Deck. Stream Deck, is that?
That's what Jeff said, Balbina. That's what Jeff said. Now, we don't know what MMO means, but we'll see.
What did I say? What have I done?
The Mandalorian game will be an MMO. Didn't you tell me that?
No, if that's the rumor that I can't.
That's
confirm.
the rumor.
I don't know if that's true.
I tried to put it on you.
Yeah, don't you put that on me.
Don't you put that on me, Ricky Bobby. That's okay, Rachel. You take your time with that. Oh, gosh. I'm seeing Doctor Strange later tonight. I almost kind of don't want to anymore.
Yeah.
I'm always beginning to enter that phase. Even though I liked the last one, I like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Part of me is just you know what it was? We were here's the list of things you need to have seen, and Eternals was on. And I
think that was a joke, but even still, that it's actually not quite a joke because there's gonna be stuff like that in there. All right, you should hear it now, Mike. No, maybe you don't hear it.
I do hear it. I hear it.
Oh, you do. Okay. Chat hears it.
Don't worry.
I'm gonna turn it up there for them. All right. I think we're good though. Okay.
Movies are for cowards. I kind of agree with that.
I remember this outro. That's probably going to need to be the same thing. Music. All right, there we go. Cool. That works too. Everything got reset because I went to Windows 11. I should have just left it in that purgatory from last week. Is Nintendo's fiscal report out on Tuesday? I believe so. Yes. I believe it's next week.
Next Tuesday?
Yes, it's coming out overnight next Tuesday-ish, yeah. All right, Mike, I'm going to do a countdown. I'm going to hit the button, music, and then we're going to get into it. You ready?
I am ready to get into it.
5, 4, 3. The internet, you're busy, let's do this. Welcome to the GamesBeat Decides podcast. This is the podcast where we decide everything happening in the world of games so you never have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Jeff Grubb. With me is
Mike Minotti.
We got news, games, we have so much going on. We're going to get to all of it here real soon. But Mikey, how are you doing? How are you faring this week as we prepare to enter the weekend?
Pretty good. I got to go to a Guardians game on Wednesday, hence the shirt that I got there, and that was fun. I'm excited for that weekend, although it's raining all weekend, but at least I got my grass cut before the rain came, so I feel good. I'm like seeing Doctor Strange tonight, and part of me is like wishing I did it. And I was talking about this, I don't know, I was like, man, this is so much of my thing with movies anymore. It's like I kind of would rather stay home and play video games.
I don't think that's too rare of a feeling these days. I mean, there's so much to do at home that like at a certain point going out is a little bit more daunting than maybe it used to be, and we've been staying at home for years now, so like you get ingrained. I kind of want to see it. I feel like the chances of me getting into the theater to see it though are very slim.
Yes, you got a lot of moving to do.
You're moving, yes. It's like I can imagine maybe one night if I like get the kids to bed on time and Steph's all set and we're done with moving stuff for the day, maybe I can like see if there's like a late show time at the AMC or something and sneak off and go see it, but that's probably not going to happen.
I see some people compare like, oh, he's like went to do, he like did a full-on horror movie. I'm like, well, you guys better be exaggerating because I don't want to see any horror shit. I
think they're exaggerating, but I mean, like,
there's no way.
It's Sam Raimi though, so it's like even his horror stuff is like silly and kooky. So
I guess. Sure.
Yes, I guess he's done some actual horror movies, but I don't think it'd be like that.
I think those were a while ago, but I don't know. I'm not a Sam Raimi expert. I basically have just only seen his Spider-Man movies also.
Well,
and actually, no, I saw Oz the Great and Powerful. I did see that, okay, which was maybe a horror movie of a different kind.
Yes, maybe. Jesus, I forgot about that. I will probably, yeah, like I said, I love Sam Raimi. I really do. I am a Sam Raimi expert, although I don't know if I've actually seen Oz the Great and Powerful, so maybe I'm not. Maybe
it sounds like you're a fake fan.
Maybe I'm a fraud. I'm a fraud.
Maybe you'll see it and you'll be like, this is a bad movie, and that's why it's so good.
Okay, that's not what I say about Elden Ring. It's just say it's bad, but better than everything else still.
No, oh my God, no. You make me...
It's not good because it's bad.
The first time you said that like 3 times now, the first time my eyes rolled out of my socket. Oh, Jeff thinks he's being cute.
I
clever.
do, and I am. I am being clever. I absolutely am. All right, let's get into the... Oh, you know what? Let me do the credits real quick. More for me and Mike at GamesBeat.com. If you want to ask a question, super chat right here on YouTube. It's a good way to do that. But you can communicate with us for free at any time by emailing the podcast at gamespluspodcast@venturebeat.com. It's the plus sign. Thank you to Carlos Ayin, who's Insane on the Rain Music on YouTube, for the use of our theme song. We are on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever pods are caught. Give us a good rating wherever you're listening. That helps people find the show. If you are watching on YouTube Live right now, though, hit that thumbs up button. If you're watching later, hit that thumbs up button. It really helps people find the show.
Thumbs up!
Join the Discord. The link is in the description, but it's GameMess.net. GameMess.net should still just take you there. Thank you to our mods, and if you want, you can support the show by joining the YouTube channel, by going to patreon.com/GameMess, or subscribing to my Twitch channel. All of those will get you into the secret channels inside of the Discord. And that gets you access to stuff like a monthly Q&A, our monthly Jeopardy game, which we eventually release, but you get it way early. You get like a month early, and then you kind of hang out with the real community where it's like there's like this always something happening there, and you come hang out with us there. But the Discord otherwise is open to everybody, and feel free to join that. Again, GameMess.net. All right, Mike, let's hop into this news. I figured we should start with the Game Mess update, actually.
Oh.
So stuff's happening, stuff's moving there. We already knew that the Xbox Showcase was going to be happening, and they gave us a date last week. That was June 12th. We knew about this, 10 a.m. Pacific time, I think. It's kind of around the time they almost always normally do it. And since then, they've told us that we should expect the show to be around 90 minutes, although they haven't solidified that time. They are still slotting things in. So it kind of sounds like it's going to be about the same size shows that they normally do. Maybe a little bit smaller, but even then, it'll probably still have like a ton of stuff in it. 90 minutes is probably just like the bare minimum that they'll hit. Since then, though, Jeff Keighley has come out and said that the Summer Game Fest show, I guess that's just the name of it, is Summer Game Fest. It's going to have the like an opening showcase sort of thing on June 9th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. That is the Thursday before the Xbox Showcase. And based on what we're beginning to hear about how that week is taking shape, that is really when things begin to happen. Is that Thursday? Things begin to take off, and we should see some multiple other showcases sort of fill in the slots between Summer Game Fest and Xbox on Saturday. How are you feeling about this? Is it starting to feel like a little bit more like an actual E3 to you?
Yeah, and I'm kind of glad that we are just getting showcases during that week. That feels about right. I bet Nintendo will do a direct. We'll hear about that.
Yeah.
Maybe some of these some of these other people, maybe Devolver Digital is going to do another one of their silly things. They'll make a lot of jokes about E3 being dead, right?
Almost certainly.
PC gaming show, maybe future game show, maybe some of that stuff. The wholesome game show, maybe some of those usual suspects will show up. It'll be interesting to see if Sony wants to do anything or not. Yeah, we'll be able to do a lot of live streams covering it. Yeah, it seems fun. It seems like it won't be too dissimilar from the E3 experience we had basically the last couple of years, really.
Absolutely. Like, and early on we were saying this. It's like Jeff Keighley could easily sort of just assume many of the responsibilities that he was actually doing when it was E3. Like Judges Week is something he could still do, and just having a showcase that sort of filters in right in that spot where if other companies don't want to do their own, he could just say, come to my show. And now it's just Jeff Keighley's E3 effectively is what we have now.
Right. Yeah. I think, again, for the at-home version, I don't think things are going to be particularly different. Now, I do wonder, like, who is going to be at this Summer Game Fest, like, opening event? Is going to be is he going to get some, like, really big games announced here? Is this where maybe like a Capcom or an EA might want to show up and bring a thing or two? I wonder.
Yeah, like you could see Need for Speed sort of maybe showing up there from EA, right? Like that almost makes some sense. If it doesn't go in the Xbox Showcase, you could just as easily do that if you're one of those companies. But he's proven last year in his last few events that he can get, for one, a lot of eyeballs. Like he got a lot of eyeballs on Summer Game Fest and on Opening Night Live and the Game Awards. But specifically last year at E3, like he had FromSoft's Elden Ring, and that was a big deal, and it trended and was like it blew up.
Right.
So it's like you go with Jeff Keighley, like you have the possibility to blow up like Elden Ring did. Now, of course, Elden Ring's special, but still, people are going to view it that way, I think.
Yeah, there could be something like that, and I bet Jeff Keighley will remember to tweet out and promote his own show when it goes live too, and that's going to help them out a lot.
Yeah, I mean, like, and I'm pretty sure that he would just be not passive aggressive either, and he'd be just direct. And all right, I'm gonna talk about the Xbox streaming stuff now.
Oh, there you go.
All right, so the story should actually be going up like right in a minute. It's not that big of a deal. Tom Warren definitely kind of talked about this stuff, but separately from him, I've heard that. Xbox will be releasing a streaming device of some sort and a Samsung Smart TV app within the next 12 months. So it's going to probably still take a little bit of time, but within the next 12 months, we will get both of those things. So they are trying to do their Xbox Everywhere initiative, and we saw that yesterday with Fortnite becoming available on XCloud. This happened when I was on Grubb Snacks and I didn't understand what was happening when people were talking about it. But Fortnite available on XCloud, it makes a lot of sense. A free-to-play game would very much appeal to the kind of people who don't want to buy expensive hardware, but might want to play a game on their TV through a device that's relatively cheap or through an app that they already have on their TV. Xbox did say they plan to add more free-to-play games to this, and like stuff like Halo obviously will be in there too. Like Halo's another free to play game that's like, okay, has that similar sort of appeal, not as big as Fortnite, but has a similar appeal. What do you think about this?
When you say device, is it like a Roku stick? Is it a box? Is it like a Steam Deck? What kind of a thing am I expecting here?
I think the thing that will eventually launch will likely be a Roku stick, an Amazon Fire Stick, something along those lines.
Interesting.
It could be possible that it's like a Roku puck, you know, the Roku, the slightly larger devices that have to like be plugged in and then like sit next to the TV instead of just sticking straight out of the HDMI port. But it'll be like along those lines. It's going to be something that can stream your Netflix and all your other, you know, streaming movie and TV platforms, no problem. It'll probably have a pretty similar interface to a regular Xbox. But then you can subscribe to Game Pass Ultimate and just stream a library of games. And let's say you have a dedicated Xbox in another room, you could probably stream the games you own from your Xbox, either directly from that system or also from the cloud. So all that stuff should be happening within the next 12 months. I bet we hear about many of these things much sooner than that, but that's the timeline Microsoft is looking at internally. It is taking a little bit longer, I think people are expecting, but that is the timeline.
Interesting. So it's going to be an Xbox app finally. How long until that Xbox app is available on Switch?
Yeah, probably not anytime soon. That question will probably just keep popping back up, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's something that, you know, they've said they want to do, but it's probably still far.
The FTC is going to make them, Jeff.
Yes, that's right. The FTC is going to make them. Speaking of the FTC has started looking into the Bungie acquisition in addition to the Activision Microsoft acquisition. This stuff is very standard. This happens with most big acquisitions, and it actually is like either the FTC or the Justice Department. And maybe this is just me applying something that isn't true, but to me, I think the more serious one would be the Justice Department. If like the federal government's like lawyers are looking into this, I would be more worried about that. The FTC just seems like, yeah, we're making sure this makes sense. But I mean, do you see any possibility where the Bungie deal specifically doesn't go through?
No, not that one. I mean, probably not. I guess I'm just interested in hearing you talk about it like that, because there are some people like, you know, everyone's freaking out at first, and then a lot of people are like, no, it's a standard procedure. Then there's some people who are like, actually, it isn't. So I guess, you know, I'm asking you right now, big deal or not a big deal, Jeff? Not a big deal.
This is not a big deal. And I get that the one thing people keep going back to, and I just find this very funny, is that investors don't believe it will go through. Like investors ever know what's going on. Like investors are ever making rational decisions. These are people who barely understand the things they're investing in, and they do a line of cocaine and they go get on their Bloomberg terminal and they just make up
lines.
Yeah, they look at like, let's just do this.
They watch that guy with the props and then they honk their horns and then they go bet on stocky stocks.
And like, I'm not exaggerating. Like the reason people always tell you to invest in index funds rather than like with some broker is index funds where you just like put your money into something that like invest a little bit into every company on like the S&P 500 or something like that. Almost always outperforms someone picking and choosing stocks for you. They don't know what they're doing, and it's because it's very complicated. But even in simple situations where it's like, should I be worried about the FTC? They might be worried. They're neurotic. They don't know what's going on. So that's not a good bellwether for whether or not this deal is going to go through. I continue to say that there's been no evidence out of the FTC that they are actually looking at games in any strict way to like pull them apart and to stop acquisitions from happening.
Is there any chance they're maybe trying to like show some force here so that like maybe like, all right, guys, these are like your last big ones?
Yeah, I think that the federal government, I think Biden and his people are like trying to look tougher on it, but not so tough that they're going to actually put the kibosh on anything on it. I mean, and it's
but Jeff, the Biden administration is such a go get 'em, do things administration.
Yes, you've got a good point there.
Why did I call you Jesus Dave?
Christ. Well, I mean, why not? Why wouldn't I be a Dave? You can call me Dave. That's
I'd really rather not.
I think that it's Microsoft, like specifically, even Sony. These are not companies that are popping up frequently among constituents for people that Biden like talks to. They are worried about Facebook. They're worried about Google.
Meta.
Twitter, Meta, and
They're really worried about the metaverse. That's what keeping Biden up at night.
They might be worried about Apple and stuff. Sure. Microsoft has done a good job of staying in the good graces of politicians, and Sony also, like by almost by association, by being in video games, has I think is going to get that same rub. This is just not high on the priority of these people trying to show force in breaking up monopolization. And it's very easy to argue this is nowhere near a monopoly for either of these companies, because mobile games exist and all these other things exist.
Well, for one thing, there's two of them. We're talking about two companies here, yep. So literally not a monopoly.
Yep, absolutely. All right, let's we can keep this going. Let's circle back to Xbox real quick. Halo Infinite Season 2 launched, and I mean, I kind of just wanted to take your temperature on it. I think it's like, okay, it's getting us playing again. I like that. I think the new maps are cool. There's still not a ton here, but I'm mostly happy with it for how I play it, which is when our community is going to be playing it, I show up then, and I'm not playing it on my own ever.
Sure, right. Yeah, I mean, I like having excuse to go back. I think that new sort of mini battle royale, last Spartan standing mode is fun. It's interesting, but it does seem like it's like the game's not getting even as much of a boost as I thought it would from having Season 2 launch.
Yeah.
Like its Twitch numbers are still surprisingly pretty low, and there's still like a lot of. I mean, we know Halo community is negative law, right? But like that's what they're doing now. They're being negative. They're finding the things that they're complaining about, whether it's just the general. It took this long for this, or some things with progression being a little wonky, or some of like it's a point where there's changes that won't affect most people. Like they got rid of some speed running tech, right? And
right.
Is that something that's really going to impact you? No, but you can still kind of add it to the list as another grievance. And, in some sense, rightly so. Like, why bother changing it? It is a good question. Why bother changing it? But they did. So it is kind of like, man, I wonder now, how hard is it going to be to really turn things around for Halo Infinite? Is it a matter of Forge coming out and being this big deal? They can't just do they certainly can't just do an update of this size every 6 months and have that be good enough.
All right, Mike, I'm gonna ask you first, but then I'm gonna pose this question to the audience, and then it's this is based on political polling, where Rasmussen always does this one where it's like, is the country going in the right direction or is it on the wrong track? Which is a weird thing to ask people, because it's like those are two different, like a track and a direction feels different, but whatever. That's the question they've asked for decades. So is Halo headed in the right direction or is it on the wrong track?
Oh gosh. That's weird. I mean, I guess if this is the track it's on, I think it's a wrong track for a 10-year plan, right? That's what their thing, right? 10 years? Is it right?
Yes,
they probably threw that one out here. This is the Halo game for a while. It's probably on the wrong track for that. They probably need to find a way to get content out more regularly, even if it's just, let's get maps and stuff to come out in between some of these seasons even, right? And I mean, it is kind of like, wow, we got 2 new maps after 6 months. And again, game development is hard and all these things, but does it take 6 months to make 2 maps? Let's get some more old maps in there. We should just flood people with maps. That should be one of the easier things to do here. Again, Forge is maybe going to help a lot of things. That's why I'm sort of hesitant to say if this is the right direction or the wrong direction, because once Forge is out and community can start making its own stuff and that can maybe start catching on, that might help a lot. It's such a weird situation, Jeff, because I love Halo Infinite a lot. I think its multiplayer is a lot of fun, and in some sense, like, it's okay that I'm not playing it all the time, and I can complete a season and I can move on for a bit. I don't need it to be my everyday game, but it probably wants to be people's everyday game.
Right.
So if that's what it wants to be, then they're probably going to need more content coming out. I'm always just so anxious about saying that too, Jeff, because I don't know what it's like over there. Maybe they're all freaking out and crunching and really hurting their mental health trying to meet these expectations, and it's just so much harder than we understand, or there's these other factors. So I hate to be like, well, they're just not making enough content, right? Like, what do I know? I don't know.
But we can only judge what they put in front of us, and they claim that they're doing less crunch than ever and stuff like that, and we could take their word for it to a certain extent, but when we're judging the game, we could just sort of just judge it based on what they're giving us. And I think right now, I think I generally agree with the chat, but I agree also that it's split, and it's 56% headed in the right direction, 44% on the wrong track. I think that's a fair sort of split, where it's like, it's very easy to go either way on this. I think right now they are, if they can increase the rate at which they are releasing content, then I think they are heading in the right direction. But we've seen no reason to necessarily believe that they're going to be able to hit that release cadence anytime soon. So why wouldn't you say they're on the wrong track? Because everyone agrees the one thing they need is more content coming out more quickly. And it still seems like we're pretty far off from that happening. I want to give them sort of another update, one more update later this year, see how that goes. And then if by then it feels like, okay, and then it's going to be another 6 months before we get anything really major, that is obviously and clearly the wrong track. If they could start picking up the pace later this year, I'll feel like, yes, headed in the right direction. So I'm a little bit undecided, but I'm like willing to give them still a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, at least today, just because when I play it, I still have a ton of fun.
Yeah, exactly. I still always have fun playing it, but you can't deny that. I mean, just looking at it on Twitch right now, it's like below things like Brawl Stars.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
some
and
games
Twitch
called
is like
War
Twitch is a
Thunder.
tough one because it's like one or two big streamers can flip that stuff, but you would still expect one or
Sure.
two big streamers maybe to show up for this.
Yeah, they're playing. Right. So it's certainly not. It's not in that echelon of just always being stream games like your Rocket Leagues, your Valorants, Fortnites, League of Legends. People still watch people play Rust. Is Rust still a thing?
That's just like the kind of thing where you can do sort of so much emergent gameplay that I'm not surprised people still watch that.
Yeah,
I remember
well,
the story of hearing about. Do you remember the robot friend I have, Henry Mark?
Yes. I
yes.
remember the robot.
Yes. So he would him and his friends, they would set up traps, and they would have like someone like say, "Hey, I need your help," and they would come out of their house, and then Henry Mark would have built like this giant like hole, and the person falls in the hole, and then he's just talking to him in this robot voice, and they did some messed up stuff in that game, and that's the kind of stuff that I think people would probably still like to watch.
The most streamed game right now is Grand Theft Auto 5. Jeff, I somehow barely even understand what Grand Theft Auto Online is. I never tried it. I never had any interest in it. Big deal. It's a very big deal. And yet it seems like I haven't missed out anything in terms of being able to cover this industry by not checking it out or not even being that tuned into it.
I mean, it can exist in its own sort of own orbit, but like the reason it's always number one on Twitch is because of the role playing, which is like this whole other thing on top of Grand Theft Auto 5 Online, where it's like it's not really related to the game itself. It's like people creating their own fun. It's this whole other thing. All right, we talked about the FTC looking into Bungie. We've got all the Xbox news. Let's talk about Nintendo. We talked about this on Nintendogs. All previous Splatoon basic weapons will be returning for Splatoon 3. I'm like kind of wanting to mess around with it a little bit more, but we'll play the game. I'll see then. But there was a report out of IGN about Nintendo having a troublesome history with its contract studios and contractors and stuff like that. Mike, you read this report. I haven't had a chance to like really dig into it yet. I've had a busy week. What was the big takeaway for you?
The big takeaway is that there should be an easy fix for Nintendo and that they should just do it. They should just hire on more of their contractors, or at least give them an easier path to becoming full-time employees, and certainly look to them before hiring people from completely outside the company. It just seems like there's a bit of a culture problem at Nintendo right now, as there are at a lot of places like that. And because there's like a lot of talk about red badges and blue badges. I forget which is which, but it's like, if you're a contractor, you're treated differently. It's like your scarlet letter kind of a thing.
Yeah.
You better not spend any time at Cafe Mario and like high school shit. And
yes.
Yeah, and it's kind of embarrassing.
But it feels like the kind of thing that gets decided by the tax accountants, right? And you shouldn't be letting your tax accountants decide your company culture. That's bad. And so I think anything they can do to sort of say, no, our company culture is this, and what we're going to do what it takes to make sure that we bridge the contractors from there to here to come be a permanent part of our culture. So that like anytime you're working backward from the lawyers, working backward from the accountants, you're going to end up in situations like this. And Nintendo kind of course they're doing that. That's especially Nintendo of America. I mean,
we see a lot. I always hate this form of contract. Like, contractors are supposed to exist because it's people you only need for a specific period of time.
Right.
Nintendo has all this work they're doing. They're always going to need to be done. They're always going to be releasing a new game or working on this new thing. So they're always going to need Q&A and bug testing and call center stuff like that. So just flesh these departments out, hire them on full time. I mean, they've been making all this Switch money, Jeff. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, times are clearly good. I think you can invest a little bit in yourself and in your employees.
Yeah, and it's again, you look at how other industries treat this, like the film industry. The reason it works there is there are strong like labor organization and unions, and you go from one project to the other, but your like healthcare carries over through your union and stuff like that. So as you go from one project to the other, it's much more smooth sailing. Video games doesn't have anything like that, so it's up to these companies to take care of these employees, and it kind of doesn't matter that they don't like it. They should still do it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's not an excuse.
Yes.
But we don't want to.
But that costs money. Well, you're fucking making money. What do you like? Yeah, that's the whole idea. Okay. I think Mario Strikers looks real good based on that most recent video that came out yesterday. Mike, have you seen it?
No. I did see the roster, which still doesn't have Daisy. Although it seems like a small roster. There has to be more characters that you unlock or something in the game. But
almost certainly. So yeah. But I think it looks real fun. It looks like it nails exactly what Mario Strikers nailed on the GameCube. And so I'm ready to be there day one. I'm really itching for it. I think playing that Nintendo Switch Sports and just like trying the soccer game and that, and it's like this slow paced thing, and yet it's still so much fun. I'm very much ready for this game to come out. But that video is available on YouTube now. It was on Japanese, the Japanese YouTube. I don't know if they released an English version, but the Japanese one's worth watching too.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that game. Just want to play it.
Yeah, is there weird audio cutouts? We can check on that. If anyone else is experiencing that, let us know.
You sound a little, not to me. You're coming in a little jittery, but it's not a big problem.
That could be Discord for us, but you're coming in fine.
Figured. That's why I didn't say anything.
You're coming in fine for me. If anyone else notices it, please let me know in chat, and we'll see.
Everyone
if
else is saying it's fine, so I think
okay. So try refreshing if you're having issues. Okay. Well, now that we've touched on the big three, let's get to the big fourth.
We touched the big three.
Let's touch the big fourth.
Which is
WWE is making a WWE RPG, Mike.
What does that mean? RPG can mean so many things, Jeff.
I can tell you what it should mean is they have all of these characters that are basically superheroes and mystical beings, and they should like there was that mobile game, that mobile fighting game where it's like they just leaned into John Cena being Superman or whatever, and I think it was made by NetherRealm and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it was, right.
And like that game should have got a full like Mortal Kombat style console release. It's insane that it didn't. And this game should basically just be that. Take all those characters, all those designs, and put them into probably an action RPG, so you can have like character classes based on all these different wrestlers and stuff like that.
So you want it to be Kingdom Hearts?
No, Diablo.
Diablo's what you're
please, God, no. Please, I would never say that, Mike. Kingdom Hearts, Jesus Christ. I think Diablo, where like you could like go out there and just do suplexes on demons or whatever. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I certainly don't think it's going to be a turn-based RPG. I wonder. There's some indie studio who is basically making an indie like wrestling-themed RPG thing already. So I don't know. I mean, it's a good idea. I remember they did stuff like this in the GameCube era, or at least a little bit. At least I remember Crush Shower was when they just made their own Twisted Metal game, right?
Yeah, a lot of weird stuff happened during the GameCube era. I remember that Skittles game is always one that comes to mind. But yeah.
Oh, WrestleQuest is that new game coming out. Thank you, Thrax. So, yeah, I mean, I just want to see what this looks like. I want to see what the content of it is going to be. I'm skeptical. As funny as it sounds, I'm skeptical.
Donnie says it's going to be a wrestling booking sim. How would you feel if it was like a spreadsheet game, wrestling manager?
Those things kind of exist for wrestling games, but also you wouldn't call those RPGs. You call those Sims. So
yeah,
but like Sims. Like MLB The Show, it's Road to the Show mode. You call that an RPG in a lot of ways. A lot of stat growth. Okay. I mean, there's also stat growth in the W games as they are. So it's just so many things that could be, and I imagine it's going to be a while before we find out. I mean, is 2K making it? Who's developing that? I just don't know.
Probably. I don't know.
Probably 2K. But I don't know who's developing.
Okay. Embracer. This happened earlier this week. Overnight, Mike was up and he just covered it. And I was hoping it happened on your stream after I went to bed, but I went to watch your stream.
It was even later.
It was even later than that. It would have been cool to see that happen live. But Embracer has acquired Square Enix Montreal, Eidos Montreal, and Crystal Dynamics, and along with basically all of their IP. The biggest ones of those are Deus Ex: Legacy of Kain and Tomb Raider. All of that for $300 million. The deal will close later this year. Mike, we talked a lot about this on Nintendogs, but I figured we'd touch on it pretty quickly here. Basically, just tell me how you're feeling about this, what you expect to happen, and what does this mean for Square Enix?
I mean, I think it's a good thing for those studios. I think they're going to be happier under Embracer. I think it's going to be a better thing for fans of those franchises like Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, and who knows, maybe Legacy of Kain. Maybe that one will come back.
Yeah.
I'm almost surprised people still care about Legacy of Kain, Jeff. But hey,
Me too. Yeah, it's one of those fan bases that's just like it's never. It's always going to maintain what it has, and then who knows? Maybe someone will try to make a new one.
Yeah, I mean, we keep thinking about Square Enix, and we keep wondering what is next for them. And I know we both have talked about, we think maybe Sony is interested in them, and part of this was offloading some of their kind of not dead weight sounds mean, but you know what I mean. Trimming the fat also sounds mean.
A lot of people that they have to pay and wasn't making a lot of profit. Like, that's just the facts.
Yeah, so now we talked before about how Microsoft needs to wait for some of for its big deal to go through. I wonder if Sony needs to wait for its Bungie deal to really go through before they can make any Square Enix moves. Yeah, I don't think anything's going to happen immediate, Jeff.
Yeah, but I mean, I wonder if it's like, get rid of the North American side of stuff. Maybe the FTC can't say anything about that if it's all in Japan at that point. I mean, I'm probably Square Enix probably has like other things in the United States. Maybe they could, but I think for the most part that the jurisdiction might not apply. I'm no expert on this, so I'd have to ask.
Sure.
But I wonder if that's part of it.
Well,
but this is the rumor that we heard though. When people a couple weeks ago were like, "What were you hearing? Like, who's Sony going to acquire?" We were hearing that they were going to acquire Square Enix. I've heard that from multiple places. I know that earlier this week on their PS I Love You XOXO podcast on Kind of Funny, Greg said that he was hearing it as well. I think a part of that we were hearing from the same people, but I think also we've heard it from different people as well. So there is some of that echo chamber effect, but I think it's a little bit of us getting outside of that as well. So, but we can't confirm it. We don't know. It seems likely. It seems like it fits, but that doesn't mean anything. This could still go in a completely different direction and have,
as it often has, as it often have.
Exactly. So I look at this. I'm like, I still think Square Enix is trying to position itself for acquisition, but we'll see how that turns out. It could go any number of ways. I agree with you that this is probably good for the studios, though. I think Square Enix hasn't believed in any of these companies in a long time, and I think while Embracer is hard to pin down, I think they will at least give them one earnest shot to do something, and probably at a reasonable budget where they can overcome it relatively easily.
I bet at least the next 5 to 10 years at Embracer are going to be pretty nice. After that, maybe things are going to get weird. Who knows? But at least for a while,
that's gaming, though.
Cozy there.
That's gaming. THQ was doing great for 5-10 years, and then they released the U-Draw. And then it didn't go so well. Yep.
That was them. Wow.
Yeah. I think Zach Zweisen over at Kotaku put out a great image of like the dominoes, and like it starts with the little domino and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And the little domino was THQ collapses because it released the U-Draw and didn't make any money. And then the big domino is like one company owns 200 studios, including all these IP, and it's Embracer Group. It's like, I guess you can draw a straight line from one to the other.
I remember just seeing stacks of those U-Draws at Best Buy, man.
Yep. It's the kind of thing where it's like you might still find one like a TJ Maxx or something every once in a while. All right. So WB apparently is also still looking to sell its studios, but without the IP. This is the reporting out of Fanbyte. I believe Imran Khan is the one talking about this the most. This sounds right. It also sounds like this is why this like they've been trying to do this for a long time. It also seems like, and why they haven't been able to up to this point is who's going to buy these giant studios and then have to pay WB to license Batman.
Right. Well, it's one thing with like that stuff. The weirdest one is, are they talking about Mortal Kombat? Are they saying that you would buy NetherRealm?
That would be insane to me.
Have the rights to Mortal Kombat?
I hope that's not what they're saying. That would be crazy.
But maybe because they're making Mortal Kombat movies now, like that's a valuable IP. Maybe they're like, well, we don't want to get rid of that IP. You can have the people who made the game, including like the guy who's made the game since the beginning, but you're gonna have to like pay us money to make Mortal Kombat games.
I mean, they're in the reporting. There's no exception explicitly stated for Mortal Kombat, but I mean, there should be an exception for that.
Yeah, there's no. I mean, because NetherRealm would be worth a lot. especially with Mortal Kombat. But like, that has to be kind of one parcel. It's one thing with Injustice. I get it. They don't want to sell the rights to WB Super games or Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, what have you. Like that, like multimedia stuff is something. But man, Mortal Kombat. That's a weird one.
Yeah. But like, I get people think Rocksteady, any company would be happy to have Rocksteady, but
Yeah, well, Rocksteady could do anything.
they could, but it's also you can just hire the people at Rocksteady. Like you could just hire them and have them come work on your games or start a new studio with them.
True, yeah.
Why give WB hundreds of millions of dollars, if not $1 billion plus, for some studios like this when you are then going to have the cost of at least for like the foreseeable future, maybe for finishing these other games or something like that, or you have to bake that into the cost, and then just have those Rocksteady developers switch to something else. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. So maybe someone will step up. I doubt Embracer is going to be the one to do this, and I doubt any of the big companies are actually going to want to make deals like this, except for maybe NetherRealm, as long as Mortal Kombat's involved.
Yeah. Man, if without an Embracer, who is picking these studios up? It's kind of getting weird.
Yeah, I mean, there's just will be a lot of buyers.
Does EA need to get into buying mode if it's not going to be in selling mode?
Yeah, maybe that's possible. Something like that could happen, I suppose. But again, like EA, instead of going out and buying like Monolith, the company that worked on the Middle Earth games, right? What did they do? They started a new studio in Seattle with those former employees.
Right.
So like, I think that's EA's strategy is we have enough money to start these studios ourselves. We're just going to do that. So I got a herded kid here. Let me help her.
Oh, what happened?
She says she hurt herself. I'm just going to check real quick.
Okay. I heard a poop.
I think you pooped. All right, I'm going to deal with the poop. I'll be right back.
You do that. Sounds like a you problem. Don't mind me. There you go. Play the Song of Healing. What is the Song of Healing? Wait. There it is. Halo. I wonder if I could do the da 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 da. There it is. There's that. The good Halo song. That Halo 3 thingy from those really good Halo 3 trailers. This is the way the world ends, right? That's where they started the whole Cortana's. Something's up with Cortana. Any news on Save the K3? No. Getting philosophical on this. What is the Song of Healing? I mean, I assume that's an Ocarina song. Although I don't remember it. Was that a Majora's Mask Ocarina song? I don't even remember there being a Song of Healing in Ocarina of Time. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I just forget. Do you play any Irish folk songs? No, there's like a million tabs for those, especially from the person I follow. But I haven't learned any yet. I'm a baby nerd. I just want to play the songs from the movies and video games that I like. Because I'm a bad person. Maybe at some point I'll learn one or two of those. Whoop, I'm knocking over my microphone. Can you play Jethro Tull? Oh, I should learn some Aqualung, huh? Wind Requiem. Don't know Wind Requiem. Like the only Zelda. Do I have any Zelda stuff on here? No. I mean, all the Zelda stuff should be easy. What key is the Ocarina in Ocarina of Time? What key is that in? It's probably just in D or C or something real simple. But Akanuble, Freebird. I should learn Freebird just to play for you guys at some point and blow your minds.
All right, I'm ending the poll.
All right, the poll is over.
Okay, let me unpause and we'll get right back into it. Where were we at?
WB? We're talking about WB still. I think we're kind of wrapping up on that.
Okay. I'm going to unpause right now. Okay, so when it comes to WB, I think that for the most part, we're going to have to just wait and see if it feels like they're going to have to find a sucker, right? Like they have to find someone to take on, like pay a lot of money for something that really wouldn't be worth all that much without the IP.
But man, too bad Square Enix doesn't have some spending money.
Incredible. Okay. The Guillemot family, the family that basically owns
Speaking
Ubisoft.
of suckers.
Speaking of suckers, mostly Yves Guillemot, because all the kids have like left the company, have left Ubisoft. They are considering partnering with private equity for a planned acquisition to block any hostile takeover attempts, which is definitely something like in line with what I've heard about the way Ubisoft was one of those companies freaking out after the Activision acquisition. Here's what I don't get, and maybe if there's anyone who works in equity out there can explain to me how in what world would private equity be better than letting a big company come and acquire you?
Maybe you can make them pinky promise that you get to still be in charge of your use. Maybe that's the difference.
Is it just that? Is it just that you get to stay a CEO? That's to me that's super duper weird, because I mean, he's getting up there. His time is numbered. He's not going to be able to pass it on to his kids.
Yeah, is he really that energetic about running Ubisoft and like lording over the 15th Assassin's Creed and the 8th Far Cry anymore? Like, is that really getting him out of bed in the morning? I don't know.
Yeah, so it's hard for me to pin down why this is a move that they think is good. But I will say that if they're considering this, they probably ran out of other options, like maybe if they were considering mergers or anything along those lines.
Well, apparently they asked EA or are you saying you heard that they asked EA for a merger, or somebody did?
I've heard that they've a lot of companies were sniffing around that stuff, but I haven't heard anything about that specifically. But I do think that there's a strong chance that they had their teams looking at every possible option for them for what they could do, and if they are at private equity, they are probably got a lot of that can't happen, or that how would that work, or something along those lines. But yeah, I mean, a hostile takeover from whom? I mean, I think the only ones that, maybe they're worried about Vivendi again, but I thought they had an agreement that Vivendi couldn't try to take them over again for a long time.
Yeah, maybe they're just really worried about hostile takeovers because they're the one big company that actually had to fight one off in relatively recent history.
Right, and it's what is Ubisoft's market cap? It's relatively low compared to, and it has a lot of employees. And then you compare it to it has a market cap of 5.83 billion euros, which is pretty low, because I think EA is at $36 billion or something like that. So they probably would be a target for a Tencent, or maybe down the line a Microsoft or a Sony or something like that. And I don't know why that would be less preferable than private equity. I'll have to look into that. Okay, let's see. Warcraft Arclight Rumble was announced. Mike, I know some of those words.
This is their Warcraft mobile game. I tell you what, it sure does look like a Warcraft mobile game. It has very much that Clash Royale aesthetic to it. Mm-hmm. They're calling it a tower offense game. So you can imagine. It's you collect a bunch of heroes and you set them out on the battlefield, and they go down lanes. There's lanes, right? Maybe it's just maybe there's one lane. I mean, that might be fun. I don't know. It's what you would expect. They didn't port Warcraft 2 to mobile or do something new. Now, I do wonder, maybe it's because it looks so Clash Royale. It almost feels like this is the game they maybe wanted to make 4 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. But here comes this was their big push at Activision Blizzard before the acquisition. Is we need to get more of our big IP onto mobile. They did it with Call of Duty. They had that Crash game come out not too long ago. They're working on it with Diablo, and this is the Warcraft thing coming out now. So we'll see if this becomes a pillar for them, or if it's going to be like Nintendo's mobile efforts, where it's kind of a cute curiosity for a bit, and then they sort of lose interest.
Yeah, and you could see it kind of going either way, right? It could be huge, and it could be a Nintendo-like thing. Absolutely. Yep. Going back to Ubisoft real quick, they have moved the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake from Ubisoft Pune and Mumbai to Ubisoft Montreal, which is where Prince of Persia first, the Sands of Time trilogy first got started. Is this game coming anytime soon, Mike?
No. I mean, they said they're going to use some of those assets from those other studios, but probably probably a lot of work getting restarted here. I mean, it's interesting because it's a remake. We always say like, oh, those are relatively easier to make here, but presumably, you're moving it all because you really decided like, all right, we want to do something really high end now, and those other studios just weren't equipped for it. So we're basically starting from scratch here. They had to blow us away with that next trailer after the reception the
Right.
first one got, right?
Yes, absolutely. I'm still hopeful. I'm glad they're not like just canning this thing.
Yes, that's the good news. That it's not just canceled. Now, it might be hit with Skull and Bones and Beyond Good and Evil 2 now in
True.
this kind of weird purgatory state, but
Yes, very true. But hopefully it does see the light of day and it gets the full treatment that it deserves. I love Sands of Time. It's a really good game. It's one of my favorites from that generation. Last couple here. Kotaku says that Mafia 4 is in development at Hangar 13 and it's using the Unreal Engine 5. This is the team that was doing that sort of like sci-fi open world game I talked about a little bit, and then they canceled that. It was like going to be announced at last E3, and then it never happened.
Right.
And a few months later, we heard they canceled that. So that team, it was always the Mafia team. They're going back to doing Mafia 4, which makes a lot of sense, right? Why?
well, it makes a lot of almost kind of sad sense.
Yes, true.
Yeah, back to Mafia. Man, I remember Mafia 3 just because they had like a really elaborate E3 booth that one year, and they had those people
Right.
like they were doing like one of those like New Orleans funeral those
Processions,
funeral
yeah.
processions just around like the show floor.
Yeah, that's right.
With the loud like jazz trumpets and stuff. Okay, I don't know. I think I talked about it before. I have a weird aversion to all things mafia and mob related. It's just not something
Right.
I
It's
find
too real
like
for you. Yeah, it's too reminds you too much of your real life.
Yeah, we have the mafia here in Youngstown. It's not fun. So yeah, I find it as like a weird fantasy escapism thing. Like I don't know, it's not my thing.
I played Mafia 2 and thought I was really gonna like it. I got it for free early in my career through OnLive. Mike,
Whoa.
OnLive. And so I'm like, I'll play OnLive. I'll get Mafia 2. There's Playboy magazines in here. I like that.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't I didn't find it very fun. I did not have a good time with it. So it's like, guess I'm not into Mafia. The Mafia 3 came along and the reviews were sort of up and down. And
They're
I'm like,
kind of mixed on that
mixed.
one. Some
Right,
people stand by it.
Yeah, and it seemed interesting at least, but it wasn't interesting enough to get me on board. I don't know if Mafia 4 is going to change that.
Remember when they just straight up made that Godfather game?
Yes, totally, and it was like I kind of want to go back to it because it seemed like super weird, but I don't know.
Was it like the last thing Marlon Brando worked on before he died or something?
That'd be incredible. I feel like there's always story. What was the last thing? What's his name did? Orson Welles. Yes, was the Transformers movie.
Yeah, he did the Transformers. He's a Unicron.
Yeah, Unicron. That's incredible. All right, finally, a story from Mikey. Yoshi P says Final Fantasy 16 is coming together nicely, and a trailer for the game is done. At least that's what it says here. Did he say that? Is that true?
Yeah, I think he said the trailer's done. He says the game is pretty much done. So, we're going to be seeing news here soon. I guess I wonder if we're really this far along. It's kind of weird that, like, because originally it's like, oh, you're going to hear something before winter or whatever. And
yeah,
like,
before the end of the
we
year.
have to push it back. It's like,
and then at the very end of last year, like they're like, we're delaying. Yeah, you're right. It's a weird situation.
Right, especially compared to, maybe you consider some games they showed too much of, like Final Fantasy 7. It seems like we got a ton of mini updates when they were remaking that. Even got a lot of trailers for Stranger in Paradise, it feels like. But, yeah, so sounds like we are finally getting that news soon. I mean, at this point, they're certainly setting themselves up to disappoint people if it's not coming out this year. Why else would you keep saying, "Oh, it's coming"? It's like almost done. Why say that? Right.
Yes. If it's not coming this year, why say that? So with him saying this, I expect this to either be at Jeff Keighley's thing, its own event sometime very soon that they haven't mentioned yet, or at an unannounced Sony thing. Most likely of those is a Sony thing, right?
Yes, it could be that. I mean, they do their own things. I remember Final Fantasy 15 had that big media bloat. I think Greg Miller hosted it.
Yeah, Greg Miller hosted that. Yeah,
yeah, and remember because like the release date leaked right before it, and they just did their own thing for that. And I almost feel like people might care more about this one than that one. Who does?
Yeah. But yeah, I guess I'd be interested to see how they're going to do it. But they could do it at any time and then launch it later this year, and it would be a big deal. There's not a ton of games scheduled for later this year. That could change quickly. But if you are like a PlayStation 5 exclusive, it seems like you're going to have a lot of space to yourself this holiday. So Why wouldn't you try to get it out?
Right. Yeah. I mean, this could really be a Starfield Final Fantasy 16 kind of holiday.
We
God, I hope so, Jeff. I'm really looking forward to that game.
Yes, I know. I'm ready to see more of it. It looked interesting. At least it definitely
Yes.
looked like like they watched a lot of Game of Thrones, but it's a fantasy game, so that's a good thing almost. All right, we are done with the news, Mike. That brings us to super chats. If you want to get to those now, I'd like to hear your first one, please.
Uriel Delgado says, "Happy Friday, Meep Men. Does anything come to mind if I were to say that I can't watch the podcast without my buddy Superfly?"
I mean, just that.
I don't think
no?
it's a Bug 2 reference on the Sega Saturn, and that's where my mind went. So.
Okay. My mind's going to Mr. Mosquito, and I think it is a reference to that. So
There you go. Afro Ahmed says, "Happy Friday, boys. Mike said on Nintendo Square was not releasing the Pixel remasters on Switch. Was this just frustration, or do you have new info?" I just meant they hadn't done it yet, and they should have. That's still not anything they ever announced that they're doing, right? Unless I missed something.
no, I think that's right. I heard earlier that they were supposed to do it like in the first part of this year, but then they started delaying the PC version of Final Fantasy VI, and I think things just got pushed further down the line. Now it's like kind of uncertain, but I mean, it will come to Switch eventually. But I just don't know when anymore.
Yeah, because we were just talking of people being upset about Square Enix potentially going to Sony. I was like, Sony sucks at supporting Nintendo right now. Anyways, They haven't even released the Pixel remasters yet.
That's right.
Yeah, apparently Euro Delgado was doing a Daikatana reference, which I both like and am disgusted by.
Yes. How dare you, and thank you very much.
Yeah. Nintendo says, "I've never been that big into the Keeley events, but I figure I might enjoy it more watching with other people. Based on any knowledge you have of what could be there, do you think Summer Game Fest is worth the IMAX ticket cost?" I mean, I think it'll be worth it just for the novelty of the darn thing.
Yeah. His parents like founded IMAX, so it's like very funny that he's like, "Oh, we made a deal to get an IMAX theaters." Like, "Oh, of course he did." But that's cool. That's a neat thing. Like, yeah, go for it, or stay home and just watch us stream it instead. Like, just watch us watch it.
Is every other city like the ones around here where if you want to go see an IMAX movie, you have to go to like your local science center or something, or do other cities just have IMAX theaters?
There's it's like different. Like some have like almost IMAX and they're not branded IMAX, but you could show IMAX theaters, and some are like, oh, this is an IMAX built into an AMC multiplex. But it's all flavors. There are some that are like, yes, in a science center and stuff like that. But Ohio, I think, is mostly that, isn't it?
Yeah. Uriel Delgado says, "Is there any game that Jeff likes, but Mike hates the way Mike loves Kingdom Hearts, but Jeff kind of hates it? I tried getting Kingdom Hearts and I'm at Hercules." There you go. I don't know. I used to tease him about SteamWorld Dig 2, which I never really hated, and then I finally went through and played it and had pretty good fun with. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything I can retaliate against Jeff with, really. There's some games he plays that I'm just not interested in, so I don't really bother, like weird games where you're towing cars out of mud or whatever. But I can't say that I hate those.
No, they're just great.
There's not too many games I despise anyways. I don't know if there's anything I get worked up over the way Jeff gets worked up over Kingdom Hearts, that's for sure.
Trash.
Because I'm a well-adjusted, reasonable human being.
And I am not, because I played Kingdom Hearts once.
Jeremy G says, "FTC now reviewing Grubb's move to Ohio." Yeah, Ohio might be getting a monopoly on a good gaming journalist.
That's right. It's all coming to Ohio, everybody. Deal with it.
Yeah. Balbina Patik sent the super chat with no comments, so thank you very much for that. Topak Shakur says, "I leave my house to go see Mike, but that's it." And he bookended it with two of those like the bullhorn breathing emojis. I don't know what you call those. They're angry emojis.
Yeah,
this was what I was talking about of not wanting to go out to see Doctor Strange tonight. Supernova says, "How happy is Jeff Keighley in his show? Will he surprise the audience with his dear friend?" As presumably Hideo Kojima. Yeah, is Hideo Kojima showing up at Summer Game Fest, Jeff?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he might show up, but it could be a situation where it's like they're just not ready to show a game, so he won't be there. I don't know. I'm like 50-50 on whether Kojima shows up on stage at all there, though. He could, maybe.
Nation Harris says, "No mention of new story content for Infinite with the side-eye thing." I mean, there is new story content in this season, isn't there? Or something? I don't know. I didn't really understand or care about that. I'll be honest.
Same. Yeah, I mean, when the co-op stuff maybe when it comes, maybe I'll try it again. But I'm not like, I don't know. I'd be happy to just replay that game as is. I don't need new story content to bring me back. I'll like play it again on my Steam Deck or something.
And then Topak Shakur says, I don't need Warcraft Mobile to get a hero. I already have Mike with a heart. Here, you get a heart too now. There, they haven't busted these out in a while. There's your Mike heart.
There's your heart.
All right, Jeff. That's it for the super chats for now.
Okay, we are going to get into the questions right after this quick break. Mike, do you have to go potty or anything? I have to go do something for my kids real quick. It's only going to take a couple seconds, but if you wanted to take a break, you could.
I don't really have to go potty.
Okay.
You can go ahead.
All right, I'll be right back.
You can do that. I'll sit here with everybody. Make them all stare at my face. I'll get some tabs up for something new. I'm feeling self-conscious playing the same things over and over again. Oh, these are all playlists. I don't want playlists. What the hell? This is funny. 1 second. Were we just talking about this? Yeah. Well. Well,
very powerful and loud. Wow. Wow. All right.
So now
do me a favor. You come to ask me on the day of my daughter's birth, the wedding birthday. I must do a favor for you and your family.
I can't do it now. There you go. Here's the Godfather theme. We did it. Okay.
All right, let me unmute here. Okay. So, I'm back from turning on video game Candyland for my daughters on that game table thing. They found that again. They're really into it. Okay. I got a bunch of questions here from the community. Let's get into them. As always, if you want to ask questions through the community, you can just join us here on the YouTube by hitting that join button. Go to patreon.com/GameMess. There's other ways to get in. Let's start here with Visualizer. Would you rather be responsible for creating a game that's so bad that people remember it forever, or for creating a mediocre game that's fine but it's forgotten within a few months?
Oh, mediocre. People don't. The gaming community isn't. They don't take that stuff in good humor. You make a bad game, you're kind of like a villain,
right? And there's like people whose entire career is just completely destroying games they think are bad instead of like having fun with bad games. It's like it'd be cool if like that was like way more of our relationship to them. Like even like Balan Wonderworld, it's like I had fun making that content and stuff. So
poor John Romero, we make a lot of Daikatana jokes around here. People hear that name and a lot of them think of Daikatana before they think of like Doom. Right?
Exactly.
Kind of messed up.
From Dr. Turbo Sus. Hey, cheeseless classic roast beef boys. How much game info do you... I mean, I might order exactly that right when we get done with the show today. How much game info do you get that you can't report on? What usually makes you hold the information instead of releasing it, not counting stuff off the record? I mean, we get embargoes like everyone else. If that's
me. I work much more inside the system than Jeff. So I'm always usually just working with embargoes and stuff.
People know that my job is to report this stuff. So what they do is if they have something and if we're not going off the record, but they eventually one day might think, okay, this is something maybe I could give Jeff and he could do something with it down the line. But he can't yet. Usually they just keep it themselves and they don't tell me. That's usually how it goes. There is some instances where, like right now, I know the name of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2. I don't see much of a reason to share it. I'm letting people guess. If you want to guess in chat, if anyone gets it right, I will say you got it right. But
I mean, you told me what it was at some point, and I already forget because it was kind of boring and bad.
Yeah. But I just don't see much point of putting that out there. So there's those situations. But then there's most of the time when I get stuff, if there's a reason, if there's a story, if there's a way that I can use that to explain why gaming companies make the decisions they make, usually I'm going to put it out there. And if it's off the record, it's off the record.
Can I get one guess? Can I break this if I can remember what you told me?
Okay. I feel like you are going to remember though.
Oh, you seem nervous, man. I don't know. I don't want to get Jeff. I don't want Jeff to feel like this.
I think I'm allowed to say it. Actually, I can't remember. I think it's like, okay. I think I was on the record. Let me see here. No, Electric Boogaloo, Baby Yoda Rises.
Do you want me to type it to you? Do you want me to type it to you, Jeff?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Type it. Let me see if I can remember what this is.
Put it in Slack.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sending it to you. Actually, I'm sending it to you in Discord.
Oh, okay. Well, then I have to go over here. All right.
Wait a second. I spelled the word wrong. There it is. Let's see. Was that right?
Yes, that's right. That is correct. Yes, you got it. Okay, all right, cool. And I've put teasers out in like multiple places for this, so when it happens, I can just be like, hey, look at that. Yoda fucks in this one. That's it. He got it, everybody. Slay McGustin got
Star Wars, Yoda fucks in this one. Finally.
Let me get back to these questions.
We'll get back. You can all survive until a couple of months or whatever when you find out.
Yeah, we'll see. From from Turbo Madden. Hi, Mikey, House of House Minotti, and Jeff. No one leaks like Grubston. This question is mainly for Mike, but Jeff can answer too. Are you interested in that Rescue Rangers Disney Plus movie that actually looks like Stoner Roger Rabbit 2?
I mean, yes, I'll be honest. I would have actually preferred just a Rescue Rangers movie, like about the Rescue Rangers, like doing their things in their treehouse and Gadget and everyone's there. I guess I'd rather have this than nothing. But I mean, I think it'll be fun. I don't know. I think it's something we're all going to forget about a couple years after it comes out. But, whatever. At least do something with that IP. I liked Rescue Rangers a lot as a kid. I was a big fan of that show. So,
also, what are the chances L.A. from this Rescue Rangers movie is a world in Kingdom Hearts 4?
No, zero. Not going to happen.
The reason LA is always used in movies is because it's cheap. It's not cheap in video games. You have to like recreate it. So it's
Hollywood is there.
Right, exactly. Yes. So it's like whenever like a script is like, and it's like that was the Terminator thing. They're like, oh, we could just have it set in Terminator, like right now in Hollywood, in LA. And it's like, oh yeah, it's cheap. Okay, we could do that. From Dugan, hello, gentle deciders. Where do you fall on the need to preserve the past when it comes to games? Have you contributed any of your press materials or gaming ephemera to preservationists? Thank you for the show and for taking the question. I don't know. We didn't get much interesting stuff, especially like sent to us because we started like when everything was coming through on USB sticks and stuff like that.
Right. I got some. Yeah, I mean, I think about it, but honestly, I haven't thought about it in terms of like the press assets and whatnot. I do keep pretty much everything. So I bet just someday I'll go through and find some stuff and maybe see if I can find a home for some of this.
The reason people are asking this is because Jeff Gerstmann just donated his Zelda Ocarina of Time press assets to the Video Game History Foundation.
That's that's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't have anything as good as that.
No, nothing anywhere near as cool as that. I got the. Actually, I think I threw it out. The box of liquid smells for Dying Light 2.
Jesus.
It like made me sick, and I'm like, I have to get rid of this, so I just put it in the trash.
Fair enough.
All right. I don't think they would take that anyhow. From One Up versus CPU, do you think Square Enix threw in the Balan IP as a free surprise bonus with the purchase of their Western studios? That would be that would probably be like
incredible.
The whole deal falls apart. You didn't tell us you put Balan Wonderworld in the contract. We didn't agree to this.
Ew.
Yeah.
You just scream.
Hey, boys, this is from Hosp. Another week, another utterly depressing turn of events, this time in the US. As things look bleak, what are your go-to escapist games? Stardew Valley all the way for me, Solidarity from the UK. Mike, what do you use to escape?
I mean, the nice thing about video games is almost all of them are pretty escapist. They all require a good amount of brain work for the most part. And if a game doesn't, I'm just bored of it anyways, and that's why I'm not playing it. So really, anything can kind of get the job done there. It's just whatever I'm already playing. So Final Fantasy 14, a lot of that. But yeah, it does help if you're playing a game with your friends or whatever, and you're just chatting all the time. That's the great thing about video games, even compared to, at least compared to movies. Maybe not so much books. Books are pretty good too in terms of just requiring your full attention.
Yeah, it's one of the things I've learned. Like the reason I really jive with games is they externalize all of the the risks and the rewards and everything. Like everything is there in the game, and if you do the right thing, you win and you feel good about it. And that stuff really helps me sort of get out of the pathway of feeling like a bummer about stuff. But it's if I'm looking into games specifically, a SnowRunner, definitely the idea of just driving a truck through mud is actually very zen for me. Hitman 3 is a good one. And then recently we've been playing Rift Track, the game, and it's fun just trying to make your friends laugh. So I've been having a good time with that as well. All right. We did hospital. Let's see. FTC investigating Bop, which FTC is investigating everybody. So happy Friday, Jeff. No fly zone Grubb, and Mike didn't play Switch Sports with us, so no nickname for you, Minotti.
Fair enough.
I'm starting to become concerned about Overwatch 2. Blizzard can't even effectively communicate what this beta is. And then parentheses says, I think a proper Overwatch 2 beta would be a beta for the new PvE campaign, aka the actual selling point of Overwatch 2, not a beta for a facility or facelifted multiplayer patch. So now people have justifiably criticized the beta under the scope that they think this is all Overwatch 2 has to offer. And many are disappointed. If they can't even be bothered to clarify, can we expect them to properly launch this game?
I think their problem with being able to clarify it is, one, it is really confusing.
Yep.
And two, I think they're maybe not even entirely sure themselves yet, Jeff.
Yes.
I think there's still a lot of questions that they haven't quite figured out.
I've seen speculation that people think this is people internally saying, yeah, go ahead, let's put out a technical test of this game, and we're going to show you that you're going to get a lot of backlash so that we can keep working on this game because we need more time to work on it. And I think that's probably... that does happen. I don't know if that's what's happening here. Maybe that's what's happening, but I think for the most part, this is just them trying to figure it out, like you're suggesting, where it's like, maybe would you be happy if we just started putting stuff out slowly again? So yeah, you're right. Like it's hard to communicate when they don't know themselves.
And, I mean, the reason they're doing just this PvP is because the PvE stuff is that is part of what's been dragging and ticking so long, and that they even said we kind of want to decouple these things. So yeah, like Jeff's saying, like maybe just release this PvP stuff early. But then it's this awkward thing of, well, here's like not the biggest thing we promised about Overwatch 2, which makes it Overwatch 2, but it's still called Overwatch 2, but maybe you don't actually pay for it. And is it just this one new hero? Maybe there's a couple more. It's confusing because for other games, this could just be a season update, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they really got themselves in a corner with this original Overwatch 2 mandate, which was something mandated to them from up above.
Right.
And by the way, up above is also what fueled a lot of people from Overwatch 2 and then try and kickstart new projects at Blizzard, a lot of which got canceled. So the Overwatch 2, as it is right now, and all this confusing stuff and all the kind of things about people don't like, it's a product of the awful management that was plaguing Blizzard for the last 5 years or so. And it's the kind of stuff we're hoping is getting turned around now. And it's hard to tell. We can't really tell from what we're seeing here because, again, this is like a product of the before times. They are definitely going to have to, at some point, one, figure out themselves what this is and then communicate that with us, but they are not ready to do that yet.
And that's Overwatch 2. Well, yeah, you're right. We'll have to kind of wait until they figure it out before we know. From Winnie, forget the lesser handhelds. What are your favorite Tiger Electronics games? Batman the Animated Series, Virtua Fighter, Fievel Goes West. And he says, I may have cleaned out my garage recently.
That's amazing because, gosh, so when we went to the Guardians game in Cleveland, which is about like a 70-minute drive for us, it was me, my brother, and his daughter. And, she's doing the typical, like, are we there yet thing? So we would, she had a Switch with her. I was like, man, we had like Tiger Electronic games for long car rides. I don't want to hear any whining from you. Mm-hmm. And actually was thinking about me just started talking about the ones that were favorites. I remember there was a Sonic 2 one that was actually pretty good. There's a it was not Double Dragon. It's a Double Dragon.
Double Dragon is the one I had for sure. I think I had other ones, but the Double Dragon one just followed me my entire childhood.
Double Dragon was like a big deal for a bit before it just fell off a cliff. It did not do much in the 16-bit era. And then I know I had a Mortal Kombat one also that I liked.
From Turbomination. Yes, from Turbomination. The Tomb Raider reboot trilogy sold 38 million copies, and the two studios making them are still just about break even every year. Isn't that just crazy? Not every year, but the problem is that most recently they were break even or barely break even. And then in the past, like their good years was just like 8% profit margin, and that's not what they want. They want 15% or more.
The shows really sell that much? That seems
so that's the number that's going around. I think they put out some like number about like how many copies the Tomb Raider series has sold all time, and then just the trilogy sold 38 million copies. Now, are they saying like did they say sold 38 million copies or had 30 million copies distributed? Because like a lot of
million players,
38 million players, yeah. Because it's like there's a lot of times where like those games were in like deals and were given away and stuff like that. I don't know. It feels a bit extreme.
Like one of the games, I forget if it was the first in the reboot or if it was Rise. Wasn't it that one who like that sold 5 million copies and they were like
in the first few months,
that's what they were disappointed in. Everyone's mad. So I don't know.
Exactly. All right. From Jump Matt. Hey guys, how do you expect rising interest rates to affect the gaming industry? I'm guessing it will slow down acquisition somewhat, but will there be any other impacts? Yeah, it's it will slow down acquisitions a little bit, but it might speed up in the near term because they're going to keep going up, and that's going to make it more difficult to borrow money in the future. So you might want to act now, but yeah, it should kind of slow things down in the long term, definitely.
What Jeff said.
From Casual. Happy 6-0 Day Mayo, Jeff, Stone Cold Egg Mania Grubb, and Mike going commando to the Yachtsman, Minotti. What's a nice thing you've done for yourself lately? This could be a purchase or a gesture.
When I was at the Guardians game, there was this booth that was selling waffle cones filled with barbecue, pulled pork, and macaroni and cheese. And I didn't hesitate. I didn't worry about my calories or anything like that. I was at the baseball game yes, give me that waffle cone filled with meat and cheese and pasta, please, and smother it with barbecue sauce. And I tell you what, it was good.
Yeah, I suppose I can't think of anything too big recently, but
just been hard on himself. Just been whipping himself like that guy in the Da Vinci Code.
Yes, the self-flagellation. Yes. Yeah. Also, it's turbomination, which makes more sense. Everybody, turbomination. I got my daughter a new toy for Lightyear, even though she hasn't seen the movie yet. Just because
no one's seen the movie yet.
No one's seen the movie yet. Yes, I'm like, this looks cool, and I bet she'll like it because she likes Buzz Lightyear.
That cat? Is it like the cat robot?
No, it's just a new Buzz toy. It was just a new Buzz toy. I'm okay. But those will probably be popular, or they'll completely flop. It doesn't matter either way. I mean, she's still gonna like it, so I got her that. That felt nice for me because I like getting them toys.
Wow, Jeff, you're just so selfless.
From Canoodle, hello, Jeff, Moving, Grubb, and Mike. Look at me, I'm on a wrestling video game, Minotti.
That's true. Well, me, I'm in a wrestling video game.
Xbox invests more and more in cloud and digital-only media, but they said they will support every form. So do you guys know, or could you ask around, if they plan to reduce the minimum amount of copies for physical games? Thanks, as always. I don't think they're going to reduce the minimum amount. What do you mean, the minimum price, or do you think, or you mean the
amount,
minimum
amount
they would print? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Because they make a lot of money from selling those games.
There's still lots of Walmarts in the country,
and people like to buy games physically, and they're not exactly trying to change those people. They're trying to get new people into Game Pass and stuff like that. And maybe those people will change by themselves eventually. But for now, if they want to keep buying games, they are absolutely going to keep serving them. And they've said this themselves a bunch of times. And when they say, hey, we make more money from selling games than from Game Pass, it's the truth. So, and they're not interested in and changing the one to boost up the other. They're happy to have both kind of grow simultaneously. For Mr. Bowler, happy Friday, BNCBs. Forza Horizon 5 came out about 6 months ago, but we still haven't heard any updates regarding the 2 expansions that were planned for it. Is there a reason it's been this long without any news? He suggested maybe they're waiting for the Xbox Showcase, which is what my opinion would probably be. It's probably, here's the thing, maybe they're saving it to help fill in the second half of this year when they aren't going to have much. Not that they've had much in the first half of this year, but maybe they're going to have Starfield. They're probably going to have a Redfall, and they should have Forza Motorsport. That was always the plan for this year. But then they're going to have maybe some smaller things like Josh Sawyer's game, maybe that Project Belfry, but maybe those things don't come out, and they're okay, well, we need something to sort of fit that smaller stuff that kind of keep people playing, and maybe that's when we get that stuff. So yeah, maybe the Xbox Showcase makes sense. From Beefhammer, happy Friday to my Beef and Shed Armada captains. Summer Game Fest got its date set this week for June 9th, but this is almost a full 2 weeks before summer actually starts this year on the 21st. Can we cancel Jeff for this egregious offense and have him change it to the Spring Game Fest? I believe in my heart that we can do this. We can
at least give Jeff Keighley a lot of shit for it. And
we'll give him a lot of shit.
Yeah, we'll see how much of that he can take.
All right, from Ezipsis. Good day, boys. You'll notice that there has been no defense of Sydney since my comments last week about the superiority of Melbourne. I take this.
I forgot about that.
I take this silence to prove my claim, as it's apparent no Sydney residents are subscribers. A fact further demonstrating that they are not only an inferior city, but the residents have no taste. I mean, can we argue with this, Mike? I don't know if we can.
Sydney fans, rise up. There's got to be at least one of you.
Keep up the good work and be sure to watch the classic Bugs Bunny episode Hairbrush on its 67th anniversary tomorrow on May 7th. All right. I mean, is it a racist one? I hope not.
I would hope not. We'll see though. That'd be a surprise. Yeah, so that's they like the racist cartoons in Melbourne.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yes, that's what Sydney would say. Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna look up. I'm trying to see like our Sydney listeners from because I can get like that data and see if we have anybody. Yeah, get that map. From VJ, happy Friday, everyone. Fellas, I was initially bummed to have Xenoblade 3 announced for release the same day. I have a minor surgical procedure planned. VJ probably getting a vasectomy, almost certainly. But then I found out the company I work for has surprisingly decent short-term disability program. My question is this. Is it morally correct for me to make the large corporation I work for pay me to sit on my ass and play video games for 6 to 8 weeks while I heal? Yes. Yes, it is. Absolutely. This is... Listen, you earn all that time off. You earn like your disability by doing the work you do. So take advantage. My wife has a ton of like sick days, and we're about to move, and she's going to lose a bunch of them. And she earned all that stuff, and so she's using about almost one a week right now, and to like take the kids to the doctors and stuff like that, and to the dentist. And it's like, yeah, like do it. Like you.
I can tell you that they probably don't get very worked up about it when they have to make you work more. So
yes, exactly. So you are morally correct to do this. From Epic Open World. So, guys, I asked this question once before, but recent events have forced me to ask it again. Who is worse at managing their IP, Sega or Square?
Well, Sega's trying to get better about it. I mean, Sega has a bunch of IP that they left dormant for so long that it almost doesn't matter anymore, right? Like, can they even bring Echo the Dolphin back or Shinobi back? Or Outrun and have people care anymore, right? Like I would care, but not very many people. Like whereas Square Enix, like if they make a new Chrono game, like that'll be a big deal, even though it has been so long, right?
Right.
Like at least they have re-released and remastered those things sometimes. So I guess Sega's probably worse at it.
Yeah, he does point out it's like Sega has not released a Persona game on other systems, and they want to make Crazy Taxi into a super game, which
super game.
It's a very good point actually. And then he says, and Square sold its Western studios for the cost of a ham sandwich, so they can invest in NFTs. Also, a very good point. The point is, they continue to both be pretty bad at their jobs, and who's gonna like pull out of it first? We'll have to wait and see. From Delta Prime 84, hey Beef and Cheddar boys. This year's F1 game from Codemasters is less than 2 months from release. Last night, a bunch of influencers posted videos about F1 22 based on a work-in-progress preview build. The build looks in somewhat rough shape, but normally F1 game previews builds are very polished. Should I be concerned less than 2 months from release? Okay, if they normally look pretty polished, I would say maybe a little bit, but chances are they're probably just using an older build because that was the one that was ready, and it doesn't actually indicate what the final game is really going to be like. So I would say if the recent F1 games have been good, and my understanding is they've been pretty good across the board for the last several years, I would continue to give it the benefit of the doubt and assume that this new one's going to be good. But, maybe just wait for previews for reviews and find out for yourself at that point. For Blackheart Vinyl, hey Mike and Gaming's Conrad Thompson. Fair enough. In a WWE earnings call, Stephanie McMahon said a WWE RPG game is coming. Is there any chance this is not just a mobile gotcha game? I suppose we didn't put that forth as a possibility. It's going to
be Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, but with WWE people.
You're almost certainly correct.
Yeah, that's actually what this is going to be.
Yes,
almost
you're right.
Certainly. Yeah, let's be clear. It's
not
going to be like Lord of the Rings: The Third Age, but with WWE people.
I would like to be Conrad Thompson, just talking to old video game developers about the one-time win they did, whatever, and then sell you a lot of home mortgages. Yeah, exactly. From Bench JC, hello Jeff and Mike. What is a time you really thought games were awesome and it's more than a hobby? I'll make it more difficult and say it can't be while you were working in games journalism. Yeah, go ahead.
Are really awesome and more than a hobby. So like, gosh, I'm trying to think. That could be a lot of things.
Yeah, for me it would be like playing like GoldenEye with my friends back in like junior high and stuff like that. That would be like a time when it's like, oh, this is just this is like really special to me. This is really awesome. It's like we're bonding. We're up all night playing this game and having a good time. And I'm like, my friend broke his leg at our football practice, and I was like slapping it because I was so excited, and everyone like had to beat me up because I hurt our hurt friend, and it was just kind of like a, I don't know, funny night. That sort of stuff really sticks with me. So yeah, it's probably something like that.
I guess like playing those LucasArts adventure games like Day of the Tentacle and Curse of Monkey Island, and like making that web page and finding like this weird community of people just doing that same thing and being in the IRC channels and right stuff back yeah, those early days of online communities. And they weren't very toxic back then, really. Maybe they were, and I was just 12 and I enjoyed the toxicity. Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. I can tell you the AOL chat rooms I were in were pretty toxic because I was in them when I was a teenager.
Yeah, you were probably screaming at all of them.
Yeah, no prefrontal cortex or anything like that. All right, let's see. From Good and Creamy, Happy Fridays, B and C boys. Heroes of Might and Magic Clash of Heroes has managed to stay installed on every Xbox I've owned since it came out. I keep waiting for a sequel or even a spiritual successor, and nothing. Is Clash of Heroes doomed to languish in Ubisoft IP purgatory? Is there a game with similar gameplay out there? The only thing I've found so far is a mobile game that is bloated with pay-to-win trappings called Legends of Soulguard. And I'm sorry, I don't have a good answer for this. I feel like this is like a Jason Wilson game, and I never got into it. I don't know. How about you, Mike?
Yeah, this is like, man, another thing I was talking about very recently with AJ on that car ride to Cleveland was Heroes of Might and Magic. Just because my only relationship with this series is when he bought the Game Boy in color Heroes of Might and Magic in the Pittsburgh airport. Because again, we were talking about like playing video games on car trips or big just travel trips. So yeah, I don't know much about this series. I cannot help.
But good luck. If anyone else has an answer for him, get in chat, let him know, or, let him know in the Good and Creamy in our community. From Octo, remember when Richard Garriott, aka Lord British, got assassinated in Ultima Online? Imagine if MMOs chased that high instead of a more theme park approach of WoW. Anyway, why don't we see more book to video game adaptations? We've got a few examples, Metro, Witcher, I Have No Mouth, and I Must Scream, but compared to other mediums, seems like there's a lot of untapped potential there. I think this will change in the future.
I remember there's that Wheel of Time first-person shooter in like 2000. Right. That was wild. Well, I mean, most media properties don't get popular by being books first anymore, Jeff, and I think a lot of video game creators, and they're not desperate for ideas, especially when your idea is make a fantasy world. I mean, I think a lot of them like the world building, and they'd rather just do that stuff themselves than adapt something from a book, unless it's something very popular already that has a built-in audience. It's not like movies where they are just they get the rights to any book that seems decent or creative.
Right, and it's a big part of that. Like, look at Guardians of the Galaxy, that game. That game is like ostensibly an adaptation of the comic book, but even then they took so much from the movies, like so much of like the look and the feel came from the movies. And it's like, if you are going to do an adaptation of another thing, games really like to rely on having that full audio visual thing to take a cue from. Otherwise, you're like, right, like they would rather just do that stuff themselves. But if they're going to adapt it, they'd like the work to just kind of be done for them. And so Guardians of the Galaxy has like the exact animation of Peter Quill kicking the rat alien things and stuff like that. That's just in that game, and all the music is just in that game, and the look and the feel and the spaceship all kind of just look like they do in the movie. So books don't provide those audio visual cues for the developers, so it's kind of like, what's the point? We're just gonna have to adapt the story to the gameplay later anyhow. So yeah. Although the Hobbit game for GameCube, that's just based on the books and not the movie. That's a classic.
I found the Game Boy Advance version of that a little bit ago. I have no idea what it is, if it's any good. I'll pop that into the analog pocket and just see what happens.
See what happens there. From Patrick Hand. Hey guys, with Contraband potentially being shown at either the June show, how important is it for the entire soundtrack in the game to be by Steely Dan? Clearly that would catapult into the game of the decade conversation and make everyone forget about Elden Ring. I say let's make it happen. That would be fantastic. That would be incredible. That would totally set that game apart, like in terms of like attitude and stuff like that.
It should be called Steely Dan's Contraband.
Yes, absolutely. I would love that. That trailer is still incredible because it's just a Steely Dan song playing over a bunch of like a garage or something. It's weird. Jeremy G, how do you guys like your shrimp prepared? Because some Windows Central battle shrimp are going to get roasted next weekend. That's right, damn right. I like him to lose in Halo first. That's what I personally prefer, and then I just eat them all up. after that.
As long as they're hot and covered in garlic, I'm pretty happy. I'm not a big fan of shrimp scampi. I don't like the cold. I don't like the cocktail sauce either.
But it's fun to say. Scampi.
No, not shrimp. Yeah, no, I like shrimp scampi. I don't like shrimp cocktails. What I mean, I don't like the cool
okay.
stuff. Shrimp scampi is good because it's just covered in butter.
From Gerber, hey guys, followed the announcement of Fortnite on XCloud. Tom Warren was dropping some not very subtle hints about Microsoft working on a streaming puck. Do you guys think there's any chance they'll announce that at not E3 this year? Also, there's any update on Jez Corden's story about a Game Pass family plan? The family plan probably will get announced around E3 this year. We'll see. I feel like we might be like starting to get embargoes here pretty soon about we don't know any specifics, but like stuff like that could be coming in pretty soon. So we'll see. You can go read my story now on GamesBeat.com. I talk about, yes, that stuff is coming within the next 12 months.
Real.
The puck is real, exactly. And then an app at least on Samsung TVs is coming shortly after that. So yeah, whether or not that's at E3 this year, I don't know. Maybe. From God Rizla, when will we get a new Donkey Kong game? Also, chances we see more Pragmata this year. Pragmata is one I forget about until someone brings it up, Mike.
I've completely forgotten about Pragmata.
It's that Capcom game they showed at the PlayStation 5 showcase that everyone thought might be a Hideo Kojima game for like 30 seconds.
Oh my god, right.
Pragmata. Did it get it got delayed, right? Oh, is it coming to Xbox as well? Maybe it could be. Yeah, I don't know. But it did show up at the PlayStation showcase first.
Okay, man, I forgot about that one. Okay, announced at E3 2020 last year.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Damn.
Yeah, Jesus, man.
Yeah,
okay,
2023. Okay, well,
we should see it soon then.
Maybe
2 years. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe we'll see it at the Game Awards. I don't know.
Oh, sorry, just sneezed real bad. Nice. Donkey Kong. When do we get a new Donkey Kong?
So I mean, Retro's busy, and like it depends on what the Mario team is working on. Because some people say it's a Donkey Kong game. Now, either that's just not true. They are making a Donkey Kong game, or they're making a Mario game that has some Donkey Kong elements in it. Either way, I don't think they're making a Donkey Kong Country game, if that's what you mean.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know. It is kind of weird because it's been a long time. We haven't technically had an original Donkey Kong game made for the Switch. We just had the port of Tropical Freeze.
Do you think that they would work backward from like the next thing at the Universal theme parks is going to be a Donkey Kong expansion? So
yeah, Donkey Kong Country expansion specifically.
Okay, so yeah, but do you think that would like encourage them to maybe make another Donkey Kong game?
Maybe. And, maybe that's just what Retro does whenever they actually do finish Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah. From Danger Man Leet, with XGS from Xbox Game Pass, Xbox Game Studios, being most likely 90 or so minutes, and I'm sorry, Xbox Game Showcase. But you guys got to watch it with those acronyms. We always mess them up. Xbox Game Showcase being almost most likely 90 minutes or so, and Todd tends to do his huge in-depth look. Good chance it'll be partially sliced into two on, say, closing at Keeley's show with a lengthy in-engine trailer and then a showcase. Basically wondering like what it's going to look like. How are they going to present this stuff? I do think Todd Howard probably will go a little bit in depth, but you're right. He could then show something else somewhere else. I don't know if they have anything at Keeley's show though. My guess is they would do their own thing separately, like a Nintendo Treehouse sort of live presentation, where they just like, okay, and join us later for our live show, and watch us play more of the game and answer your questions live and stuff like that. I think there's a chance it's something like that. From Major Arms Blazer, no question today. Just wanted to say I'm finally working again after my wreck. Still delivering flowers. New workplace, better pay. Let's get this cheddar beef, boys. That's fantastic to hear. Shout outs to you, man. Glad you're feeling better. From Colin, happy Friday. Jeff, I recently got into Twitter back and forth, even though I have a strict policy of not tweeting. Any suggestions on avoiding tweeting?
You're asking Jeff?
You're asking me? No. Listen, I've said this before. The person that tweets is not me. Like, if you want to have a conversation with me, if you want to hang out with me on our Discord, you want to play games with me, that's me. The person who tweets is just this subconscious, like, exhaust fume, just putting thoughts out there without even like really considering them or considering the consequences.
Listen to me. Look, you need, before you send a tweet, you need to actually think, what is going to happen when I send this tweet? And what you're doing. Like just today, some Disney account because they're all on that new Guardians of the Galaxy ride, and they're in the queue, and there's like a video in the queue. It's like from the aliens, like we found that golden disc that you had on Voyager 1, and we found all the music on it, and started playing Johnny Be Good. And the Twitter account was like, "Whoa, the Guardians of the Galaxy ride has a reference to another famous movie." And I'm watching it. I was like, "What are they talking about?"
What are you talking about? No, they didn't.
They think this is a Back to the Future reference.
Okay, Mike, I'm gonna go on Twitter and yell at these people right now.
I wanted to, Jeff. I wanted to so bad. I was like, "Well, what's the point? They're not going to be happy about it. About me telling them that they're wrong idiots. No one's going to see it and congratulate me for being smarter than them. So it's hard. You take a breath and you just let it go."
Okay.
It's upsetting. And I'm glad I got to share it at least.
Yes.
I wonder if anybody said anything on it now because now I need to look. I think everyone just kind of was like, "What?"
I'm gonna you've ruined. I'm gonna have to do something on Twitter, Mike. I'm sorry, I can't control
myself. I didn't tell you what Twitter account it was. You'll never find it.
I know how to search. All right,
these people tweet a lot. I don't know.
From J-Tense, Jeff, any updates on Jedi Fallen Order 2? I know it's on the Game Mess calendar for Star Wars Celebration later this month. The only problem is panel schedule has been announced and nothing from EA or even video game related has been slotted into the panel schedule. I mentioned this on Grubb Snacks, but yes, it's not on the announcement of the panels because they're not. I don't think they're going to do a panel, but it will be at the event. It absolutely will be at Celebration, 100%. So feel free to watch it. I do believe it'll be there Friday, although I have not been told that. I'm trying to get the specifics, and the people that have the specifics aren't telling me, and I think they want to keep it pretty closely guarded. But I believe that Friday's probably right. Okay, Mike, that does it for the community questions. Did we get any more super chats while I try to find this damn Disney account?
I found it, and I'm not saying to you, it's hard because nobody's commented on it, nobody wants to say it, and I'm so tempted to just be like, that's just a famous song, and the Golden Record's real, you weirdos. Not everything. Also, why would Disney make a reference to a Universal movie? No, we got some more super chats. Let's read those. N7 Mikkel says, "Hey guys, if Sony buys Square, will Microsoft have to give up on the Japanese market or respond with an acquisition of their own?" I don't know if they give up on the Japanese market, but they probably be as slightly indifferent to it as they are now still. I don't think that basically the only company that would really make sense for Microsoft to acquire that have any kind of cachet would be Capcom or Sega. And those are both pretty big companies. It's going to be maybe hard for them to justify those, but maybe not. Maybe they could just do that. I don't know, Jeff. Now we're thinking 3 moves ahead, and it's kind of hard to do that.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. And because these things are so messy and so indeterminate, and while companies have intentions, they can change all the time, and things one company steps in and does something else. So thinking 3 moves ahead is not just difficult. It's kind of impossible because these things could go any number of ways. They are sliding doors all along the path.
Next one here is from Supernova. It says, "Let's settle it. Best directed shot of Sam Raimi, Spider-Man 1, William Dafoe, You Know How Much I Sacrifice, or Spider-Man 3, Tobey Maguire's Dance." Jesus Christ. We'll go.
You Know How Much I Sacrifice is very good. Whenever I think of that all the time, his delivery there is very good too.
Yeah. Plus, it has William Dafoe in it, so we'll just say that. Iro Delgado asks, so do we get a Daikatana reboot from Embracer? Does Embracer own the rights to Daikatana right now?
I don't know who owns it, but maybe there's a strong chance. Google. I'll try to figure this out.
Ethan Burchell asks, do you think Xbox open or close on Starfield? So last year they opened with Halo Infinite, their big fall game.
Didn't they open with Starfield last year?
Did they? Well, they did close with Halo. They closed with Redfall.
Yeah, I think so. I think because there was a Starfield leak just before.
Okay, no, you're right. Okay, I guess the point I was trying to make is I don't think they're going to close the Starfield because they're going to close with something new.
Because the publisher of Daikatana was Eidos Interactive.
Really, it was Eidos.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Wow. Well, all right then. Yes, the answer to that question is yes. They are going to remake it, but it's going to be a subversive remake. It's going to be really mindfucky. It's gonna have it's gonna be made on Unreal Engine 5.
John Romero will be like a character in the game. You'll have to like go back to him making Daikatana and like help him out and stuff.
You have to you play as John Romero. You have to make a Daikatana.
No, you definitely need to like. He's a character. You interact. It's gonna play just like Undertale though. It's gonna play
just like Octodad.
Yeah, That's very good. I like that a lot.
So Sir Bludder clarified here. They last year Microsoft opened with Starfield. Halo was in the middle, and then Redfall closed. Okay, I just remember Redfall closed, so I assumed they must have started with Halo then. But you're right, Jeff. That's it for the super chats.
All right. Mike, have you been playing anything this week?
Yeah, so I've been playing Halo. We talked about that. What I've been playing this week and really been enjoying like way too much. There's a big Star Wars sale. I mentioned that on Last Nintendo. So I bought Episode 1 Racer, which is was remastered on Switch by Asper, along with a lot of those other Star Wars games. I played so much of that this week, Jeff. I just finished the last race yesterday. I got first on all the races. That is such a fun game. Oh my god. It is fantastic.
Did you plug in two N64 controllers and use both analog sticks?
No, I didn't play
I played it that way once. Like after I played that game for like dozens of hours, I'm like, I'll try this. Why not?
Well, see, when I had it on the Dreamcast as a kid, but I think even then I liked it, but I didn't quite understand how it all worked. Like the thing that's fun about that game is that boosting system, where if you hold up on the left analog stick for a long enough time, then you can activate boost. So you need to kind of find straight ways to pull it off, and it just feels really satisfying when you can. But it's just it's really, really fast, like incredible sense of speed, but also very responsive. Like you can make really tight turns. It's kind of fun. And F-Zero does it. It's kind of fun. As much as I like arcade racers with drift, it is fun playing one of those where it's not just all about drifting, right? There's other mechanics that take precedent. But it's just very Star Wars-y. All these different planets you go to are cool. The music is fantastic. Just doing super classic Star Wars orchestrated stuff. Like it's like I'll be racing along and like the Force theme will hit in this really strong beat, and I'll like try to time my boost with it. Other tracks are playing Duel of the Fates. Just a really, really fun game. Definitely one of my favorite Star Wars games. Probably like maybe my second favorite racing game ever after only Ridge Racer Type 4. I was having a really good time with it. Jeez.
I actually haven't played it much since it came out, and I did play a ton of it on Nintendo 64, and then my friend got it for Dreamcast, and I played a little bit more of there because I was like always hanging out at my friend's house back then. But yeah,
get that Switch version while it's still on sale. It's like $7 right now or something.
Yeah, okay, I'll just do that. That's a really good price for that. I will just get that.
I think this week. Yeah, just get it. Because I know like some of those are like, oh, how well is it on Switch? This is 60 frames per second. There was maybe one time where I thought it dropped my entire time I was playing it. And God, yeah, it was just super. Plus, it's like in between races, you go to Watto's shop to buy upgrades, and it's like the guy actually was Watto, and he's got these ridiculous voice lines that are repeated constantly. So that's just fantastic. You're constantly unlocking new racers. Oof, man, it was good stuff. I kind of want to play Racer Revenge on the PlayStation 2, which like 80% of people were like, it's nowhere near as good as the first one. But then like there's these other people like, no, it's actually great still. So maybe I need to see what that one is all about.
Yeah, at least see it for yourself. Like, I mean, what can it hurt?
Yeah, what can it hurt?
I've been playing a lot more Rift Tracks of the game because it's out now. We played some more of that. They added a bunch of new clips that they didn't even like say were going to be in the game like on the day they launched it. And I think this is like a good indication that it's going to get a lot of support because that's what they said when I interviewed them. And they added stuff from I think Miami Connection, I think, and I haven't seen any of that yet, but I really hope so. And they added Shake Hands with Danger is one of my favorite shorts and stuff. I am just so into what they're doing there because I watch those movies, those Rift Tracks movies all the time, and it's cool now to just like, okay, now we can have our own fun with it. And that pick a riff mode is still so open to everybody where anyone can have a good time with it. So yeah, I had a really good time with that. And then Rogue Legacy 2, where I feel like I'm just on the cusp of it really getting like into me, where it's like, okay, this is all I want to play right now. I'm not quite there, but I feel like I'm really close.
Have you beaten the first boss yet?
No, I haven't. I think I'm about to, and it's like I'm just like kind of piecing together the like, okay, all the systems and stuff because I never played Rogue Legacy 1, but I'm like, okay, I think I get the risk reward here. That stuff's pretty simple actually, but it's like I was still like, okay, should I be taking these risks to get more coins? So it's like if I have a specific goal in mind, yeah, I should, and then in other times maybe I could just see how far I can get.
It is kind of like it's like, what's this run about? Is this run about just trying to get as much gold as I want to, or is this a run where I'm trying to kill one of the bosses?
Exactly. And like, okay, now that I understand that dichotomy, it's like, okay, I can make that decision now. I've done that in other games. It's kind of similar to how I played Dead Cells and stuff. So it's like, yeah, I'll be getting into this. So yeah, I've been playing that on Steam Deck. It obviously runs great on there. It's a lot of fun. So I'm gonna keep playing that game over the next week. We also played a little bit of Halo Infinite, Mike, and we talked about that earlier. But it's I guess specifically, how do you feel about the new maps?
I think the maps are great. I really like that new one for the smaller game modes. It just looks really pretty. It's a pretty nice size. There's a lot of kind of interweaving paths. There's some verticality to it. It's doing something a little different than the other maps. And yeah, I'm into it. I want to play on it more.
Yeah, that sort of like rundown one that we played with was that the big team battle map where it's kind of
big team battle. It's also the map for Last Spartan Standing. So I've been playing that one more just because I've been trying that mode out a bunch.
Right. I actually haven't played Last Spartan Standing. I should try it. How do you like that?
I do. I like it. It's fun. I'm a little unsure. So it's very skill based in that you basically level up by getting kills or assists, and when you level up, you get better weapons. So you're not finding like weapon drops. Right. So it's like a bit more skill based there. But then there are still random drops for the overshield and for the stealth pack, and it kind of feels bad if like you run across somebody, because so much of it is just getting into finding people and then getting into a one-on-one fight, and they have an overshield. Well, it's like, well, I can't beat them. Now, someone pointed out, well, they have to have something that people need to go out and look for. Otherwise, people are just going to turtle anyways. And I guess, but maybe there's a better solution for that.
Yeah. I hope that certain affinity mode comes along and really just opens all this stuff up. I
still just want Battle Royale. I still just want Halo Battle Royale.
Yes, and I think that sounds like that's what certain affinity is actually doing. So it could work really well. Mike, I'm going to hit the button to get us out of here. What do you say?
Good. I had to go to the bathroom.
Yes, I'm getting pretty hungry. So, Mike, where can people find you on the internet?
You can follow me on Twitch and Twitter at Koto. Maybe I'll do some streaming before I go see that Doctor Strange movie today. Maybe I'll do that instead of Monkey out. Yeah, I probably should, but maybe I won't. I probably should.
Maybe we can play some Rift Tracks games or something like that.
Yeah, I haven't played any Rift Tracks yet. I want to try that out at some point here. Okay. Check out 90s Disney, 90s Disney.com. Our episode about the Disney Vacation Club is out now, so check that out.
I am Jeff Grubb on Twitter. I'm Jeff Grubb on Twitch. Been streaming much more frequently. I am going to be, I think, not yet. I was going to say we're going to be doing the new Jeopardy game, but that's probably like 2 weeks off. The Q&A will be coming up soon. Really, what I want to say is join the Discord. Come hang out with us. It's always growing. It's always bustling. We've got great mods to make sure that it stays at a really like a chill level. Like they do a good job of maintaining the vibe that we want in there. So if you want a fun play, like if you are sick of Twitter, like if you're someone who's like, how do I not tweet? Come hang out in the Discord instead. It really is a much better place for getting your thoughts off your chest and stuff, because there's always someone ready there to actually have a conversation with you. So yeah, join that. That's GameMess.net. Come hang out. We really appreciate it. And then yeah. So Mike, do you think you're gonna go see the movie tonight? Do you think you're gonna pull the trigger?
Oh, my ticket's bought. I'm going.
I'm going. Okay.
Yeah. But I don't think I'm getting back out of it or anything. But yeah, I'll go. We'll see how this goes.
Have you ever seen Darkman? Sam Raimi's first superhero movie?
No, I've heard people talking about it this week, but no, I haven't seen Darkman.
I like Darkman a lot. I always have a soft spot because Sam Raimi is like from Michigan. He's kind of like, and he
so he's trash like you.
Yeah, exactly, and glorious trash. Absolutely, that's a kind of a good way to describe his movies. Yes. Army of Darkness, I guess Evil Dead, no, it's kind of too much of a horror movie, but Army of Darkness is kind of like a comedy movie. Have you seen that?
Right, that's what people said. No, because I know that Evil Dead is a horror movie, so I haven't seen Army of Darkness. So you
should watch Army of Darkness. All right, everybody, we'll catch you next week. Bye. Have a good one. Take care of yourself.
Have a take one.
Have a take one. AJ, give him back his Sparkster.